This segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs.
Hello, and thank you for joining us here. Keith Weissite, your host with Terrebonne Home Care. We want to appreciate you for joining us here. Got a lot of updates that we need to provide to you from around the area. First, we start with one from Terrebonne Parish, Jason Bajerno. He has declared a state of emergency for various bridges that are out of order in Terrebonne Parish. There are currently 3 parish-owned bridges and 4 state-owned bridges that are closed to vehicular traffic. You can see them pictured there. This state of emergency will help to facilitate the speedy repair and the reopening of crucial bridges in Terrebonne Parish. Related to that, very glad to have State Representative Jessica Domingue of District 53 reporting about the updates on the Boudreaux Canal Bridge. This week, 6/9 to 6/13, they're going to finalize the plans and order the material that's needed. Next week, 6/16 through 6/22, they're going to begin construction and crews will mobilize to the site to start working on that. The week of 6/23 through 7/20, they're going to be working on replacing the floor beams there on the bridge. And then on 7/21, until final completion, the projected date on August 31st, the bridge will be reopened to vehicular traffic as a lower passing, while additional repairs are still going to continue. So just some updates for you on the bridges and things that are in our area. Now we turn our attention to some of the suspects and people that have had arrests. First, we turn our attention to Assumption Parish, where they've done an arrest on Jarvis Davis Alamo, 30 of Pierreport, on felony drug charges arising from an investigative stop for a lighting violation. Uniformed Patrol Supervisor observed an individual on a bicycle near a business in the 2700 block of Lee Drive early Thursday morning. The deputy recognized the individual, now identified as Jarvis Davis Alamo, and had knowledge that Alamo had an extensive criminal history. Deputy initiated officer violator interview and noted Alamo to display signs consistent with being engaged in illegal or improper activity. The deputy conducted a protective pat-down search of Jarvis Davis Alamo's person and possessions, and during that process seized quantities of methamphetamine, marijuana, and assorted drug paraphernalia. Jarvis Davis Alamo was arrested and at some point attempted to flee on foot. Alamo was immediately apprehended and was transported to and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on the following charges: possession of methamphetamine, possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, resisting an officer 2 counts, bicycle front lamps, rear lamp, side and rear reflection required between sunset and sunrise. Jarvis Davis Alamo remains incarcerated pending a bond hearing. Also, Assumption Parish Sheriff Leland Falcon reports the arrest of Toriano Adario Howard Jr., 21 from Bell Rose, on multiple drug gun law violations arriving from a traffic stop Tuesday evening near LA 308 and Massey Lane in Belrose. A uniformed patrol supervisor observed a vehicle commit a traffic violation and executed a stop of the vehicle. The deputy made contact with the driver, now identified as Toriano Adario Howard Jr., and initiated an officer violator interview. At the conclusion of the interview, the deputy believed further investigation was warranted. The deputy conducted a canine open-air sniff of the suspect vehicle and alerted positive for the presence of controlled dangerous substances. A subsequent search of the suspect vehicle resulted in the seizure of marijuana, synthetic marijuana, assorted drug paraphernalia, and a large caliber handgun. At the conclusion of the investigation, Toriano Adario Howard Jr. was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on the following charges: possession with intent to distribute marijuana, possession with intention to distribute synthetic marijuana, sale, distribution, or possession of a legend drug without a prescription or order prohibited, illegal carrying of weapons in the presence of controlled dangerous substances, possession of drug paraphernalia, no motor vehicle inspection tag, no proof of liability insurance, illegal window tint, and failure to dim headlights. Toriano Adario Howard Jr. remains incarcerated pending a bond hearing. We also have a welfare concern and drug gun law violations on Valerie Marie Soto. Assumption Parish Sheriff Leland Falcon reports the arrest of Valerie Marie Soto, 41 of Morgan City, on felony drug and gun law violations arising from a welfare concern investigated by deputies on Tuesday. Deputies were dispatched to a retail outlet west of Bayou Lewis in reference to a female who appeared to be unconscious in the driver's seat of a vehicle. Deputies made contact with the female and were able to wake her up. Deputies engaged the individual, now identified as Valerie Marie Soto, and initiated an officer violator interview. At the conclusion of that interview, the deputy believed additional investigation was warranted, and a canine deputy was summoned to the location. They conducted an open-air sniff of the suspect vehicle and alerted positive for the presence of controlled dangerous substances. A subsequent search of the vehicle resulted in the seizure of methamphetamine, assorted drug paraphernalia, and a large caliber handgun. Valerie Marie Soto was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on the charges of possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, illegal carrying of weapons in the presence of controlled dangerous substance, and Valerie Marie Soto remains incarcerated pending a bond hearing. Lastly, we talk about Jared A. Johnson, a convicted sex offender registration violation. Sheriff Leland Falcon reports the arrest of Jared A. Johnson, 38, of Abbeville, Louisiana, on charges related to his failure to register and notify as a sex offender child predator. Jared A. Johnson was convicted of carnal knowledge of a juvenile on February 7, 2019. During a violator registration check, it was determined that Jared A. Johnson had violated the terms and conditions required as a convicted sex offender. On May 22, 2025, a warrant was issued for the arrest of Jared Johnson. On June 10, 2025, Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office detectives traveled to Abbeville with the assistance of Abbeville Police Department, did arrest Jared A. Johnson. Detective transported Jared A. Johnson to the Assumption Parish Detention Center, at which time he was booked on charges of failure to register and notify as a sex offender child predator. Jared A. Johnson remains incarcerated pending a bond hearing. And again, all of those are updates from things happening in our local area. We thank you for joining us. We're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. A whole lot more right here on Bayou Time.
This segment was brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs.